It's 5 o'clock in the PM. I'd like to call this meeting to order on this day of March 20, 2018. Stephanie will introduce our person from the 4-H to do the pledge, and then we'll have, we do it. Commissioner Jones is going to do the invocation, stamp the invocation, and then he will do the pledge after she introduces it. Thank you.
Mr. Chair and board members, tonight we have Mr. Peyton Mercer, who is an 11th grade homeschool student. He serves as the Vice President of Member Services for the Effingham 4-H leadership team, and he stays involved at the county, district, and state level. Peyton is a master 4-H'er in a general recreation project and a Georgia 4-H certified team leader. Peyton also serves as a Georgia 4-H STEM ambassador.
All right, if you would stand.
Bow your heads. Dear Father, we thank you for the opportunity and the privilege to be here tonight to represent the citizens. We pray that you'll give us wisdom to make good decisions, help us to do the fair and honorable thing, and be with us in everything that we do. In your name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. And we thank you and the 4-H for doing this every week. Meeting we have. Thank you very much. Next on the agenda is consideration of a resolution to approve the agenda.
Make a motion to approve as presented.
Got a motion? Second. Got a second? All in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed likewise. Next thing is minutes. Consideration to approve the minutes of the March 6, 2018 regular commission meeting.
Make a motion to approve as presented.
Got a motion and a second. All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed likewise. Next on the agenda is public comments. You can comment, have your comments, but please keep them to the agenda items only. Next thing is correspondence. Documents from this meeting are located in the clerk's office and on the Board of Commissioners website. Next thing is we have 2 old business items. First one is the planning board recommends approving an application by DJ Investment Properties, LLC, to rezone 2.37 acres located at 294 Lehigh Circle from AR1 to AR2 to subdivide map 406A, parcel number 2 in the 3rd district, RC.
Mr. Vice Chairman, if y'all will recall, at the February 20th meeting, y'all voted to table this item to this meeting. Some residents of the development were in attendance then and had raised questions whether the development was actually zoned AR1 or not, and they claimed some covenants existed restricting dividing the land and having multiple dwellings on it. I found no record of any recorded covenants at the courthouse on this development, and it is zoned AR1, so the request is without request to rezone from AR1 to AR2. Planning board and staff had recommended approval.
Okay, thank you. All right, this being the 3rd district.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Second. You got approval and a second. All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed likewise. The next thing is the second reading. Consideration to approve the second reading of an application by DJ Investment Properties, LLC, to rezone 2.37 acres located at 294 Lehigh Circle from AR1 to AR2 to subdivide map number 406A, parcel number 2, also in the 3rd district.
Make a motion to approve the second reading.
A second.
Have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Not, I call for a vote. All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed likewise.
Voice, sir.
Yes. All right. I'm sorry. All right.
We were at this meeting here last time, and
state your name for the record, please.
My name's Dale Jackson, live at 398 Lehigh Circle. Been around to the neighborhood, they had brought me, I was one of the original buyers there, and I got Mr. Johnson, Mr. Herbert Johnson, Miss Sue Johnson, both neighbors out there. We were original owners in that neighborhood. I went around the neighborhood. Every single one of them signed a petition to stop this, and we don't really understand outside what happened in here, what originally happened. When every one of us bought that property out there, on our zoning papers, they all said AR2. So when this sign went up out there saying change it from AR1 to AR2, none of us thought anything of it. Well, what, you know, we didn't realize what the deal was. What we didn't know, we found out the last meeting here, was that somewheres in the history of this county, they changed AR2 to AR1 by name, but kept the zoning the same. From AR2 to AR1, the zoning was the same. But now, and that prevented an outside entity coming in and making 2 rental properties out of a lot in Lehigh Acres. The owner of a property could move a family member or something on a different residence onto the lot, and we're all happy with that. But we do not want an outside entity coming in there and having 2 rental properties on those lots. We did not know, we had no idea that this change to AR2 was going to allow that. We thought it was the same zoning as it was before. We never had any idea that this was going to be an issue.
There's really not much difference in between AR1 and AR2. The only difference in the two of them, AR1 is 5 acres or more, and AR2 is less than 5 acres. So if you had some land and you wanted less than 5 acres, then you have to go to AR2. As far as building, and RC can break in if you want to, but it's basically, you can do the same thing on both pieces of property, AR1 and AR2. Is that right, RC?
Yes, sir, generally speaking, AR1 does allow a second dwelling for family members. AR2 is 1 dwelling per lot.
Okay.
What the difference is, though, is there's now 2 dwellings on that lot. 2 separate dwellings. And them changing that to AR2, they're going to move 2 rental properties in there by a person that doesn't live there. And we have found in the past that whenever you have a rental property and the person doesn't have to live next door to them, they don't care what they move in there. They move anybody in there, and we've had so much problem with that neighborhood in 30 years of any rental property that the person doesn't live there. There's one rental property out there that has a single dwelling on it. And what we went through, I mean, 4-wheelers all times of night, dogs, big dogs, small dogs, shooting crazy wild. And the time you call the police and things, well, you know, it's quieted down, or it wasn't me, it was somebody else next door, it wasn't me, or it wasn't my kids on the 4-wheelers, it was always somebody else. Well, that is exactly why we do not want 2 rental properties that every single person that lives in Lehigh Acres signed this petition. They want to stop. Would you like a copy of it, sir?
I'll take the copy.
Well, according to Mr. Alzonin, he's checked everything, and he hasn't found anything that is wrong with to letting people build the other houses. You told him, ask him any questions you want to
The
ask.
zoning, as I understand it, does change it now, change it to the AR2. It does allow them to have 2 rental properties without the owner living there, is that correct?
Yes, sir. They'd be able to divide that property and have 1 dwelling on each lot.
As I understand, the county, or Effingham County has said that no lot out in Lehigh, absolutely no lot can be divided from the time that that was developed, when, let's say, the person dividing the lot was willing to pave the road back in there. And that has prevented anybody from subdividing any lots into that subdivision. The total number of lots in that subdivision is a maximum number of lots in that subdivision. So, as I understand, they weren't trying to divide the lot, they were wanting to change it to AR2 so they could have the 2 rental properties on that lot.
Well, in order for them to comply with AR2 that they're requesting, they couldn't rezone it to AR2 and have 2 dwellings on that piece of property.
Yes, sir.
So in order for them to have 1 dwelling on each piece, they would have to divide it to be compliant with the AR2 zone.
This information you talk of, I mean, did you have something in writing at some point? Because our attorney has looked into this, and there are no records showing that there are any covenants or anything restricting this from happening.
I know that I signed covenants whenever I bought my lot out there, and I talked to 3 other owners. They remember signing them. For some reason, they were not filed at the courthouse. And I cannot explain it. I wish I knew why. And this being 30 years ago, none of us even have our original contracts or anything. It's, you know, we see no reason for keeping that stuff. It's a long time ago. And I did get down to the courthouse, and I agree, there is nothing on file down there. I had a thorough search done. I could not find no covenants. I talked to Mr. Woods. He was a real estate agent that handled the selling of that real estate in there, and he said it'd be on file at the courthouse, so he told me he didn't have any records and stuff. And that, what we were trying to stop is it being turned into 2 rental properties without the owner having to live there next door. I mean, you know yourself, if you live right next door.
There's nothing that states anywhere that an owner that, I own many real properties, and I don't have to live next to it. There's no rule or any reason that I would have to, any man would have, a person would have to live next to their rental property.
Well, and that's
It was.
your primary concern is that it may be a rental. That's the concern, is that it may be a rental. But can any house out there not become a rental any day? If somebody moves out of it and buys a house somewhere else and rents it out, it can be a rental. So we can't prohibit that in any direction
No.
from happening in the entire place.
My lot, as it stands right now, I could move my son or my daughter onto another residence on my lot. I have to live there. If they start acting stupid, I'm going to keep them under control. I'm not going to let them, because I'm living there. When you have an outside tenant that lives in Atlanta or wherever they live at, or outside owner that lives in Atlanta or something, they don't care what they move onto that lot. They do not care.
I always care.
Pardon?
I always care with my property.
Well, this particular property, there's 1 tenant on there since they bought it. And on a Sunday afternoon, they were out there shooting semi-automatic weapons, shooting across the farmer's field. We called the police and got it stopped. Pardon?
That's a law enforcement issue.
Yes, it is. Because they stop shooting before the officer gets there, and then they pick up when the officer leaves. I mean, it is a hard thing. Police get tired of you calling them after a while. And it's just something we have had problems with over and over and over in that neighborhood. And I think that they may want to speak too on this subject too, is we've all had our belly full of having, and we just do not want this changed. We want the zoning to stay the way it was, the way it always has been. We do not want it changed. That's what this petition is about, to stop it. And we don't understand why an outside entity can come in and change the zoning whenever we are the ones that lived there for 30 years. We don't want it changed. If they bought the property with that zoning in existence, then they should have to live with it, unless the rest of us agree. They should have bought the property, or maybe ask the other property owners out there. Would just be acceptable, rather than buying the property and then taking it for granted that all the other property owners were going to go for it. We're not. We don't want that. We want the property zoning to stay exactly the way it is. And every single person, that represents every single property owner in Lehigh, every single one. And none of us want that to be changed.
Do you have any comment on that? Or what should we do?
My name is Herbert Johnson, 309 Lehigh Circle. I've been living at Water Wall, and it was a nice neighborhood. Everybody come in and do what they have to do. I see the neighbors every day, and I just don't want the neighborhood to change. You know, it's a neighborhood. It's a residential, it's a neighborhood. And you know, everybody come home and do their little barbecue and everything else, and don't have no noise or nothing. You know, you can come in that neighborhood and it's a pretty nice neighborhood. And I don't see no reason why y'all want to change it. If I had a know about this long time ago, me, Dale, Brad, and Miss Johnson, we would have got together and buy the place if we had to know that, you know. I sure would. I sure will. And that's about all I got to say, you know. Thank you.
Thank you.
Stephanie, I think there was already a motion.
There was already a motion, but it was a public hearing, so they were entitled to speak.
Yeah, I
So
jumped
you
to them, they're not.
call for a vote
Yeah.
again.
All right, that's the second reading. All in favor, say aye.
The first reading, you do the first reading,
Do we,
Just read the second reading again.
the first reading. We have to do them both.
Just
Do them both again.
Okay. Plan board recommends approving an application by DJ Investment Properties LLC to rezone 2.37 acres located at 294 Lehigh Circle from AR1 to AR2 to subdivide map 406A, parcel number 2 in the 3rd district.
I'm going to make a motion here in just a second. I just want to explain where I'm coming from. I've heard what you said. I understand. I live off Sister Sperry Road, off Old Dixie Highway, live on family property. I've also had someone put rental property in my front door. I didn't like it, but I don't own the property. There was nothing I could do. As far as automatic weapons, live out in a rural area. I also hear it on Sunday afternoons as well. Some of the folks that live close to me do it. I don't like it, but I don't own the property. There's really nothing I can do. I did talk to the attorney, I talked with RC. I was trying to see if there were covenants. I know that last meeting there were covenants mentioned. If there were covenants produced, that would be a game changer. But with no covenants produced, we don't have any recorded in the courthouse. I don't see how I can stop this landowner from wanting to do something with this property. And that's the way I feel. And with that being said, I make a motion to approve this request.
And I'll second.
Got a motion and a second. This is where I messed up. We've already had our discussion. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed likewise? Unanimous. All right, we'll move on to the second reading. Consideration to approve the second reading of an application by DJ Investment Properties, LLC, to rezone 2.37 acres located at 294 Lehigh Acres from AR1 to AR2 to subdivide map 406A, parcel number 2 in the 3rd district. I entertain a motion.
I make a motion to approve the second reading.
So second.
Got a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed likewise? Passed unanimously. Thank you. Next on the agenda is new business. Presentation of the Effingham County financial statements and auditor's report. Lanier, Westfield, and Deal. And Mr. Thomas.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, Chairman, members of the board. It's my intent to brief the board on the 2017 audit. Each year, as you know, an audit is conducted. It's conducted in compliance with state and federal regulations to provide our residents and the board of commissioners with an independent review of the financial status and to ensure that the financial statements are in compliance with GAAP and GASB and standards using generally accepted county government audit standards. So the report that we presented in front, provided to you in hard copy, there are three major portions of that audit. The audited statements, which consist of the independent auditor's report, the management discussion analysis, which is our management's assessment of the financials and key indicators, and the audited financial statements. The independent auditor's report is the auditor's opinion regarding our financial statements. Management's discussion analysis is the staff's financial narrative and of the audited financial statements. And the financial statements contain both countywide individual fund statements prepared in accordance with GAAP and GASB standards. My plan tonight is to give you an overview. I'm not going to drill into every one of the financial statements in the document. So my intent here is to review revenues, expenses, and fund balance, a summary of the audit's findings. I'm going to pull out some highlights that I think you should be aware of, and noted accomplishments for the year. And then I will introduce the audit team that is present during the development of this audit. And just to review with you, Effingham County Board of Commissioners, you have 6 primary responsibilities financially. First of all, you oversee the financial health and operations of the county. You accomplish this through adopting an annual budget. You ensure compliance of financial, statutory, and regulatory requirements. You helped us develop very strong internal controls to prevent fraud and abuse. And then you select an auditor. And finally, you review the financial statements of that audit. And that's what we're here to do tonight. So as I look through the audit tonight, I'm just going to read down the index. The auditor's opinion is on page 3 and 4. The auditor's report is on 3 and 4. Management's discussion analysis, page 55 to 13. The basic financial statements are outlined on 14 to 28. And we have supplemental information that supports those financials between 29 and 82. There's a statement on internal controls, reporting and compliance. The single audit is present. A federal award schedule is listed as well as our compliance with. There's an audit summary, and there's a findings and question costs listed. It's management's responsibility to present the financial statements to the notes. It's important for management to develop that MD&A to help you better understand the condition of the county. And we're here also to design internal procedures to maintain strong internal controls for you. There are 4 kinds of audits that you can receive, generally speaking. You receive an unmodified, a clean audit. It's an unmodified audit. A modified, a qualified, and an adverse. A summary of this audit's findings is on page 89. And you'll read that the auditor's report expresses an unmodified opinion on the financial statements of Effingham County. You should be congratulated on us producing a clean audit. To give you an understanding of where we stand financially, you have to understand how the major components fit together to read these financial reports. I'm going to start with operating revenues. Now, this presentation is not like the ones you've received in the past, so I'll take it one step at a time and answer any questions you might have. You'll note